an illustration idea in the back of my head for a couple of years now, and I haven't fully committed to it until now. And I think the reason why is because I couldn't find a good way to illustrate it. And I think the best way to do it is through typographic illustration. So I think it'd be a great instance to take you guys along with me, show you my thought process, how I work out this design, and how you might be able to too in your future designs. The idea that I've had for a long time, and I thought I want to go the illustration route, but I'm very confident that the typographic illustration route is a much better way to go. That idea is Han shot first. If you're not aware of what that means, it is a Star Wars reference, and it's kind of a deep cut. It's for the people who are fans of the old movies typically, or the original, the best ones. Han in A New Hope is held up by gunpoint by Greedo, an alien, and he takes him, sits him down, and while Han is sitting there, he sneaks out his blaster underneath the table and shoots Greedo, and that's when Han shot first. However, in the late 90s or 2000s, they re-released those movies, made some edits, and they made Greedo shoot first, miss, and then Han shoots him back. Not the way it went down.
Yes, Greedo. As a matter of fact, I was just going to see your boss. Tell Jabba that I've got his money. I get boarded sometimes. Do you think I had a choice? Over my dead body. Yes, I bet you have.
Anyways, this idea of Han shot first is something kind of nerdy, and I'd like to put it on a t-shirt, and it's one of those things where I can kind of signal to other nerds like, you know? All right. So I'd like to illustrate it, and by the way, I'm sorry for the chair. It squeaks, it's terribly loud. It looks fantastic. I like it, the looks of it, but it sounds terrible. So please excuse that during this video. I'm gonna get a new chair. In fact, if anybody has suggestions for a better chair, please leave them in the comments below. Back to Han shot first. I've been thinking about this idea for a while now, and I've been trying to illustrate it from the scenes of the movie. So for example, I've even pieced together, the movie scenes. I've tried to draw it out and recreate Greedo on the table as Han gets up. I've sketched it to be, this illustration. I thought I would do like a poster. I've never been happy. I've never committed to it. I've never said, oh yes, that's what I want to do. But I think, creating a shirt is really the route I want to go. And I've thought about illustrating on the shirt, doing something iconic, using Han's Millennium Falcon, using him in that stance, that very cowboy look. And I think typographic illustration is the way to go with this one. It simplifies the design down, but it also has two messages. So I've been sketching some stuff, and when I sketch, I do it very sporadically. I'll do it when my kids are watching TV. I'll kind of grab my notepad and do it, or I'll grab my phone and I'll sketch it out on my phone. But lately, I think this is the direction I want to go, where I have Han's blaster, very iconic blaster. It's this kind of amalgamation of metal parts. I love it. It's just this bulky, big blaster. It has a ridiculous scope on it. It's fantastic. It is so iconic, Star Wars, his blaster, and I don't want to go the Millennium Falcon route because the Millennium Falcon's done time and time again. I really want to do Han's blaster, but then putting Han shot first inside of the blaster, making up parts of the blaster. So that's where our typographic illustration comes into place, where without those typographic pieces, it doesn't hold up. But it also leans on the illustration around it. So with this one, we're not going full on type creating the illustration. You could do that route, but I think for this, I really want to lean on some of the aspects of the gun, because as I was noticing, I can section out this gun. Instead of making it very kind of uneven and just filling in every piece with a piece of type into the gun, which feels a bit too forced, I want to utilize the really straight edges of the gun. So I noticed there's a pattern where you have the scope on top, and it's this rail that goes up there, and then you can have Han shot with type, and then you can have this other rail down below with those kind of three bulky circles in the middle of the gun, which are very, again, iconic as a part of that gun. And then right below that, you can have type again. So you kind of have this balance of shape, type, shape, type, shape. And it'll create a kind of balance with the design, and it'll be kind of a clever way to pay homage to this iconic blaster, but also integrate a unique design that I haven't seen out there. And the reason why I'm also going this route is because when I looked up other shirts of Han Shot First, I haven't seen any that are great. I've seen the Star Wars typeface with Han Shot First, I've seen this blaster, I've seen this Millennium Falcon, and I haven't been impressed. I want to beat the competition. I want to create something new and make it unique. So next step is we need to take it over to the computer, bring it into Adobe Illustrator, and start sketching this out with the pen tool. All right, so I've come over to my computer and I'm gonna go ahead and create this illustration. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go grab Han's blaster and image online. Thank you, Wikipedia. By the way, we're not going into the how-tos or tutorial of how to use Illustrator. I'm kind of going off the basis you already know. And if you don't, it's gonna be fun to watch. You'll kind of see how I work and see what it takes to create an illustration, such as a typographic illustration. All right, I could create my own custom type and I could draw out the lines. However, I'm gonna do a bit of a shortcut and I'm gonna go pick a font that I think is going to fit in this blaster really well because it's gonna create better shapes and lines than I'll probably end up doing, and it'll save me a lot of time. And before you do something like this, you really need to know your fonts. You need to know what kind of font you're looking for. So for example, with this blaster, it's gotta be a sans serif because this blaster is so bulky and just like clunky, McClunky. Yep, Bungie's what I'm looking for. We could have gone with a slab serif or almost a Star Wars font, but I definitely want to go a sans serif route. And this this Bungie regular, this is what I'm liking right here. The one thing that's nice about sans serif fonts, especially one that's really simple, is it's a lot easier to edit and really pick out the points and make them, create them to work around your design. If we were using a serif font, it'd be more of a pain in the butt. They can get kind of complex if you use a script font. That's why with, if you're gonna do typographic illustration, if you're gonna go the route of, serif or even a script font especially, you might wanna just custom draw it yourself and just build it out. But with something like this, it's really chunky and you can just alter these points. I kind of go backwards and put the font in first and then edit around my design. You want to make sure you set up some consistency with your typeface by lining things up. So when your ascender hits a certain point, you should make sure that all your ascenders hit that point as well. If you have things kind of going off in different directions and it's kind of a clunky font, it's just not going to feel right and it's not going to read very well. It's going to look a bit unprofessional. So when you can, you try to line everything up as best you can, as if you were laying out type on a grid. I haven't saved my document until now. That's really stupid. Remember to save right when you open the document, and always hit Command S. I like this. I like this a lot. It feels much more integrated. It feels like a part of the gun. Again, if you just first look at it, and again, you zoom out, it just looks like Hans Blaster, but when you zoom in, you start to reveal the type, and it's legible. And I'm gonna work on it. I gotta keep giving some space to the type to make sure that it has enough space to breathe and you can actually read it, but I don't wanna do it too much because I don't want it to be separated from the design, but I like it. I'm pretty excited. This is a good design. All right, I like this. I like this a lot. I think I'm good with this as the final design. I think the only thing I'd add to it is some distressing. Just make it look like that just dirty, beat up old blaster that it is. So I'm gonna go throw a distressed texture on it, and I think we should be good after that. Liking a lot, and I don't know. I've been having this feeling that it might look good with look good on gray, but it also look good maybe on like a yellow. Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, I really like this this gun, this blaster of Hans. On top of that yellow, it really pops. Yeah, just such good form. It's such an iconic gun, so I think people from a distance will see that, all right, oh yeah, that's Hans Blaster, and then they walk up, they can hopefully read Han shot first. Hi, Future Brent here. I came back to the design a day later, and I changed it because I noticed that the R actually wasn't that readable. And this is my last tip: is always give yourself time for a design, let it breathe, and always check it. Always be checking it. So, when I was sitting down yesterday, I was really loving the design of the gun. I lost track of the readability of the R and just fixing that kind of area with the I and the R. So make sure you give yourself time to go back to the design, review it. I showed it to my wife and she had trouble reading the R. So definitely check your design, test it with your friends, and make sure that it actually is a usable, functional design, because if it's not readable, then it kind of fails. So make sure you have a well-illustrated image, but also that your typography is readable and it's clearly a message that anybody can view. So anyways, that was the last tip. Back to Past Brent. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it. This is really fun, and I plan to do more in the future. This is just my first video, and my brother and I were doing art and design, and that's what our channel's focused on. So I have lots of ideas. I've had tons of stuff in the back of my head that I want to put out there, and it takes me a little bit more time to actually work on a project and video record it, so it is time consuming. So if you could like and subscribe, it lets me know, hey, keep doing what I'm doing and I will make more. So the more you guys share this and get it out there, the faster it'll motivate me to pump out more content, because I have great ideas for the future, I hope. And in fact, if you have any ideas or you have questions for me as a designer, please let me know. Comment, what would you like to know from me? What kind of videos would you like to see? What would be helpful? Because that's what I'm trying to do, is create helpful artistic design content that others can share and hopefully get something from and see how another designer works, because I love seeing how other people work, so then I can kind of adapt certain things and tips and tricks, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you'll see me again in a new video. Thanks.